I have my Illustrator project open. I have my blue cross complete, and now I'm ready to move on to this green detail, the one that is behind these flowers here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my layers. I'm going to create a new layer down here by the trash can. I now want to rename that layer, so you have to come up, you double click on the name of the layer. That will bring up your layer options, and I'm going to name this green detail. Click OK. Now when I look at this, over here my eye is toggled to details, to the visibility detail, like you see these tiles. So I need to command click on that eyeball so that I have visibility. If it is left like this and I come over here to my blob tool and I start drawing, you will notice all you see is outlines. Okay, you do not see the actual drawing. If I now command click on that eyeball, I can now see the actual drawing. So you don't want your outline mode on. You want to be on visibility there. So you just hold the command key on your keyboard and click on that eyeball. I'm now going to delete what I just did. I have my blob brush selected, and I'm going to start doing this green detail here. I zoomed in by holding command plus, or holding the command key down and then hitting the plus key, and that will zoom in. Now the first thing most kids do is they go, oh, okay, and they forget everything I just taught them on the cross, and they start just tracing out this green. Now they do a little better job than I'm doing right now, but they trace the whole outside of it. Okay, I just taught you an easier way to do it, but for some reason a lot of people forget. So that's not what we're doing, because if we do that, this is going to be a little different than that, this is going to be a little different than that, and they're all going to, all the little details are going to be different. Well, we want them to be the same. So what we're going to do, I'm going to delete that. I'm only going to draw a small section, and then I'm going to reflect that and rotate that. I only now have to draw one little piece. I don't have to draw the whole thing, and it's going to be quicker, it's going to look nicer, everything is going to be better. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make my brush head a little bigger here by holding the right bracket key, or not holding it, but clicking on the right bracket key. I'm going to make sure that there's overlap, so when I click and drag down, it overlaps to the left, it overlaps to the right. I'm going to click and drag down here. I want there to be overlap over there too. What is important when I do this is I stop at the edge of the black and I stop at the edge of the black. Now I have to do the detail here. I'm going to make my brush head a little smaller so that I can do the detail. It doesn't matter that I'm not filling up that whole outside edge of my green detail, because it's all going to be filled with black. So I'm just tracing it out here. If you need to fix things, you can come back and fix it. You're just getting it as close as you can. So now all I did was trace out this one section. That's all I need. I don't need to trace out anything more. I now need to fill this in with black with the blob brush. So let me be very careful and just color this all in. I'm going to make it a little smaller as I get into these fine details here. And I'm going to zoom in a little more. So I have one big blob. The outline on the edge is looking good. If you want to edit it, you can use either the pen tool to delete some points. I'm going to show you another tool you can use. You can use the smooth tool. It is hidden underneath your pen tool, so you have to click and hold. I go to the smooth tool and then I zoom in, and with the smooth tool you can just click and drag along an edge and it's going to smooth it out the way that you drag it. So if you drag it in a nice arc, it's going to try to smooth it out to that nice arc. And so you can smooth some of the points out if you want. That point over here won't matter because it's going to be overlapped, but everything else I think looks pretty good. Once I have this fully filled in, I'm going to change the color to this light green. I'm going to change the stroke to black, and I'm going to give it a 2-point stroke. So that is up here. If for some reason you're unselected your object, what you need to do is you select your object with your black arrow. You come up here to the top left hand corner. This is your fill color, this is your stroke color, and this is the size of your stroke. Now when I do that, I see this sharp point here. I don't really want that sharp point, so I'm going to need to do something about that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand that layer that I'm on, see if there's anything extra over there, and there's not. So now I'm going to come over here to my smooth tool, and I'm just going to smooth out that edge a little bit, and that's not really working. I'm going to grab my white arrow, and I'm just going to drag that in a little bit. And get rid of it. I'm going to go back to my smooth tool, just click on it, and I got rid of that sharp point. Over here, I'm going to do the smooth tool, try to smooth that out a little bit. So I am good with the way that looks. I'm going to zoom out by holding the command key on my keyboard and then hitting the minus key as that command key is held down. Now I need to get a point to reflect and rotate this from. Earlier I already created these guides, but I will show you how I did that. I'm going to hide what I just did so I can see behind it, and I want to rotate off of this point right here, because if I zoom out a little more, you can see that is the center point of this detail. So I need guides there. So you just go up to, two things. One, I need to be selected on the right layer, and you make sure that layer is unlocked, and I'm just going to click and drag down a guide until I'm at that center point, and I'm going to come over here, click and drag out until I'm on that center point, and now I have a guide or a point that I can reflect and rotate these details around. So I'm going to show my detail again. The first thing I am going to do is I'm going to reflect it off of this line right here. I can come find that. It is hidden underneath my rotate tool. I click and hold. That will bring up other options. I can click the reflect tool. Now your cursor, it's kind of hard to see in that green, so you can bring it up here, because the reflect, it just has to be on that guide. It could be anywhere on this guide, up and down. It doesn't matter where you click on it. And I'm going to option click on that guide. I'm going to hit cancel because the detail that I want to reflect is not selected. So you could go back to your black arrow, come up here, you could select it, and then come back to your reflect tool. Or what you can do is, if you're already in a tool, like I'm in my reflect tool right now, I have that plus sign, I can hold the command key down while I'm in that tool, and I can select that. When I let go of the command key, my black arrow disappears and I'm still back in the reflect tool. So that's a little shortcut. If I hold the command key down, when I'm in another tool, my black arrow tool will come up, and that's a handy tip so I'm not running back up to my black arrow tool all the time. So now I'm going to option click. It's already correct. I have preview selected. I'm just going to hit copy. So now what I need to do is shape build this just like I did the blue cross. I come over to my shape builder tool. I come back over here. Notice this isn't selected. I'm going to use that trick that I just used. I'm going to hold the command key down and my black arrow pops up. Now if I just use the command key and I click on it, it deselects this one and selects this one. So I have to hit command and then I also have to hold down the shift key, and now I can select both of my objects. My shape builder is up and I can click and drag over. Now I'm going to come up here. I noticed in my layer it made a couple things I don't want, so I'm going to click them and I'm going to delete them. I have a quarter of my green shape made. I now need to rotate it around, so I'm going to click and hold on my reflect tool, find my rotate tool. It's very important that I get this center point right here. If you don't get this center point and you click somewhere else on the line, it's not going to be exact. So you need to option click on that center point. I want to rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm going to hit preview. Why didn't it work? Because I didn't have it selected. So I'm going to hold the command key down. I'm going to select it. I'm going to option click. I'm going to hit copy, and then that shortcut key command D is going to repeat what I just did. So now I have 4 shapes. Now I'm ready to shape build. I click my shape build tool. They're not selected, so I'm going to hold the command and shift key down while still in the shape builder tool. Select everything, and now I'm going to shape build my object. Okay, so I got the majority of it shape build. Over here I got all these small paths. I'm just going to hold the shift key down and click the meatball next to the ones I don't want, because there's a bunch of them, and I'm going to hit delete. And now my layer is already underneath the blue layer, and that's where I want it. So if it for some reason it is up here, and it actually I think I want it on top, so I want my green detail on top of the blue cross, and that's how you're going to do that green detail. I'm going to make another video to show you how to do the flowers and the little details inside that green detail.